big improvements to the lunge enchantment, weird visual bugs, and what's going on with the copper cape. Hello there, Ray here, and let's take a look at the new snapshot that came out today. This is 25W43A for the Java edition, and after we talk about everything new in the update, we'll take a look at what the copper cape is doing. So drop a like and let's get into it. We got a buff to the spear today. When doing the charge attack, which is when you hold down the right click button and the spear is like this, and then you use this on a mob, it will now do more damage. But now mobs that have spears will also do more damage to the player, which fixes a problem from last time where the mobs would do like little to no damage. They just didn't really seem to understand how to use their spear, but now they actually use it quite well. They seem to back up and then they turn around and then they try to charge at you if it's a fairly straight line. They also made the spear model to be larger, and now we have a visual feedback when the charge actually connects. Notice how the spear in the hand kind of will lunge backwards once I hit something. We also got big improvements for spears that have the lunge enchantment put onto them. This is one if you would left click, and this would zoom forward and attack at the exact same time. And now instead of using over 100 durability every time you use the lunge effect, it will now use hunger from the player. So with the lunge 3 enchantment, when you do the lunging, notice how much my hunger bar goes down. It goes down a total of 5. And if you have lunge level 2, it will only go down 4 every time you use it. And lunge level 1 will only use up 3 of the hunger points. Each of these is 2 points. But you also need a total of 6 points or 3 of the little hunger haunches in order to activate the lunge to start with. So at the moment I only have 5, and if I try to use the lunge, notice it'll do a normal attack with the spear, as if the enchantment's not even working. So with this new mechanic, you're gonna have to constantly keep eating in order to keep your hunger bar up, and that way you can constantly do the spear lunge attack. What do you think of this mechanic? I think it's really cool that they added it so hunger is removed rather than a whole bunch of durability, as it's really annoying to repair these things, even since last time where they allow you to put a lunging enchantment as well as mending onto the same spear. But just like before, you do have to take time to eat while you're still using the lunging of the spear. This will also stop people from constantly using the lunge in like PvP without some effect. And any of you guys that play PvP will know that it's not good to run out of your hunger, because then you can't sprint away from your target if they're trying to attack you. But what do you think of these changes? Now when it comes to these melee weapons, when we hover over them, you can see the attribute here. Under their main name, it then says when in main hand, it does this much attack damage and this much attack speed. But this was not applying when it came to the spears. The spears instead just said when in hand, which allows spears to apply their attribute damage even when in the off hand. So this was changed today, so now the spears will also say when in main hand it does so much damage. And because of this, this will allow you to use your main hand to attack stuff, but at the same time getting the attack benefits of the weapon that is in the off hand, even though you're not actually using it. Now this was not intended, so they removed this today, but even though it says when in main hand, you can still hold down the spear in your offhand and you can still charge with it and do massive damage. Now when it comes to the spear charging, if it's in the offhand or the main hand, now they made it so that they're mirrored rather than them kind of looking differently depending on if you had it in the off or in the main. They also fixed a problem that I showed last week, where in the snapshot, for some reason, when they changed the biomes, where they gave more freedom so that you could change the way biomes look, they accidentally made it so that the piglins within the nether would actually think they're in the overworld, and then they would convert into zombified piglins. And speaking of zombified piglins, if you would hit one and they go into creative mode, they're supposed to no longer attack you when you're in creative mode, but seems like that's not quite working out. Also, there is a chance, if you haven't noticed, to get some of these to have spears when they spawn in. At first I was just the guys that come from nether portals, because that's where I first seen it. But yeah, just any of these guys have a small chance of spawning in with a gold spear instead of a gold sword, which is a little bit scary because yeah, if you're just standing on a platform like this, like they can easily get up here and reach you. But the poor spear guys, they just kept accidentally poking their buddies and then they just got killed off by them. Now if you stand on top of one that's 3 blocks tall, they can still hit you. But at 4 blocks tall, it doesn't seem like they can reach you anymore. So those spears have some crazy reach. Speaking of zombie things, when it came to the zombie Nautilus, because it's a zombie, it should not suffocate when it's on land. So now the zombie Nautilus will not suffocate on land, where the normal Nautilus will just because it's an aquatic mob and it's out of water. Or the zombie one is just like all the other zombie mobs, which don't actually suffocate when they come out of water, like drowns is a good example. but they'll still burn in the daytime like any other type of hostile mob that's not protected from the sun. Now when it came to both types of Nautiluses, since they are water mobs, they should not go inside of boats. Otherwise, if you're swimming around, you're accidentally going to pick them up in your boat if you have an open boat like this. But they were actually getting picked up in the last snapshot, but now you can see they got that fixed. You don't have to worry about having an unpleasant visitor jump in your boat with you. If you're riding a Nautilus and then it got killed, it would kind of float off to the side, and this would cause it to ignore gravity. Even when it was out in the air, it would just zoom up in the air, causing the player to go with it. So now you don't have to worry about you floating off when your Nautilus dies on you. Now last week I showed this weird bug where the banners were illustrating images of other blocks in the game, and it was quite strange. As you can see, this banner here has like the textures of a wide variety of different blocks pasted onto the outside of the actual banner. So they fixed this bug as well as other bugs related to having banners and items and them just not rendering the proper images on them. They also fixed several bugs related to MIP mapping, which is where they have different models that are less and less quality as they go farther away. That way when they show you like a piece of redstone, it looks nice and clear up close, but they can use a really low quality piece of redstone really far away and you can't tell, but it will help with your computer rendering. The problem is in the recent update, these really far ones, you can see they weren't showing up at all in the distance. This also applied to stuff like glass, which showed up as really chunky in the distance, but now it'll be back to being more see-through. Including the lava MIP mapping will look better and more blended. As you can see, there's like a big transition between this lava and the lava in the distance here. They also fixed some problems related to the world border actually moving when the game was paused, as well as switching game modes was causing the game to unpause, and the game mode switcher wasn't working properly. They also corrected grammar throughout the game, and also removed a nasty crash that would occur if you would set your spawn point with yaw or pitch values. And if you have a moving world border, it will now no longer move when the game is paused and only use the game ticks to move rather than real time. And they added in a bunch of changes to reflect everything that they added today when it comes to the data pack and resource pack. And the time to get the copper cape has expired. There was 3 different ways you could get the cape. You could either place in a copper golem statue in game before October 20th, and then you will eventually get the cape within 30 days of the promotion's end date. So 30 days after October 20th, which is like November 19th. The second way you could have got the cape is by watching Twitch or TikTok for 5 minutes. And I did do a couple long live streams, but people were having really mixed results with this. And sometimes they would have to watch for like hours, or sometimes they wouldn't get the actual redemption code until like hours later. But if we take a look over here on actual Twitch, this is the rewards campaign. And you can see Road to Copper Cape went from October 13th to the 21st. So it's already closed. You can even see that right here where it says that this campaign has closed. And there's the details about how you would get it on Twitch. But if you did get a code, you need to redeem it before November 19th. Otherwise, the code is not going to work. And the last way, you had to go in person to the TwitchCon and actually ask for a code between October 17th and 19th. And once again, you need to use this code up before November 19th. So the different times are kind of confusing, but pretty much everything has expired. Now I did check my guy and I have not got the copper cape yet on my account, and I just placed in a statue, but like I said, it might take 30 days. Just as a backup precaution, I did also watch the streams, but I do have a code to use in case placing on the copper statue didn't work. I know a lot of people were afraid that because it said down here Bedrock only, that the placing on the statue would only give you a cape on the Bedrock edition, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case, because anytime you got a cape on Bedrock edition, you also got it on Java. I think they're just saying that the dressing room here is for Bedrock only. And if it does pop up in Bedrock and not in Java, I'm pretty sure people are going to complain and they're going to fix that, as they pretty much have implemented every single cape that was in Bedrock Edition. Even like this pan one is now in Java Edition. So overall, it was a pretty quick time. But let me know if you guys have got the cape yet and which method you used in order to actually get the cape so early. Now check out this playlist and all the weird, rare things you can get in Minecraft. And I'll see you guys all over at my Twitch live streams, where I'll be playing on my testing server that's updated to the latest snapshot, which I do every Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Bye-bye!